Hey everybody, this is Jim, and coming back to you with one thing I want to share with you about how and why to use a torque wrench. Now this is a torque wrench right here. It's a real funny looking thing. It's long, it's got two bars on it, and one of the bars has this chart and the handle, and the other bar just has a needle. And essentially this bar is designed to flex, and it's designed to flex at a particular rate. They're very precisely calculated, and you got to be careful with these because if you drop it, it's probably not going to be very accurate after that. So pay attention to what you're doing. Now this particular one is set up in what's called inch pounds, which is what's in this black over here. And you can also get them in foot pounds, which for bigger jobs, which would certainly be applicable for what I'm going to show you here today. But inch pounds is great for things like engines and things like that. So this is the one I bought. I bought it in inch pounds. So occasionally if things are listed in foot pounds, you're going to have to do a little bit of math. Just multiply it by 12 and they'll tell you how many inch pounds it is. It's not really that tough. Now, one thing I do want to point out though, is when you use this, if you look here at the handle, you see that it moves back and forth and there's a pin right there. What you need to do is you need to make sure that when you're applying force on this, that handle is centered. Don't let it be here or there, depending on which way you're turning it. Don't let it be torqued like that because it's going to throw off the torque. It's not going to give you a completely accurate measurement. You want to keep that centered when you're applying force. It really does make a difference. Now what I want to point out here is when you're tightening up lug nuts on a car, it's a very common thing that I have run into that a shop will blame inferior parts like inferior quality of metal in the disc on your brakes, for example, for why the brakes warp. Well, that simply isn't the case. The reason that they warp is because the lug nuts haven't been tightened properly. A lot of places put stuff on with an air wrench. Looks sexy on NASCAR, but when you're doing it on your wheels that are going to be on your car for the next year or whatever before the tires get rotated, you got a really good chance, if you get one of those tighter than the other, that you're actually going to bend that disc and your car is going to surge when you hit the brakes. So to avoid that, what you do is you use a lug wrench, or instead of a lug wrench rather, use a lug wrench to get everything set up, but when you're ready to do the final tightening, I'm going to move you around here, we're going to use this. Now you got to look up your torque specifications in your owner's manual, it's in there, and then in mine it ends up being about 800 inch pounds on this vehicle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten this until that needle, now if you're watching you can see that needle climb, and you can see as I'm still trying to tighten this and it's going around instead of coming up the chart, so I got to keep going until that needle reaches roughly 800 inch pounds. And you can see that I'm close. I'm at 600 inch pounds right there, just about there. And there's 800 inch pounds right there. And if I tighten each of these down to 800 inch pounds, I know it's going to be accurate. Now remember, anytime you tighten lug nuts, you want to snug them all up and always tighten them in a star pattern, just like as if you were drawing a star on a piece of paper. So if I'm starting here, I'm going to come across to this one, down to that one, up to here, down to there. By doing that, you're going to make sure you don't warp that, you don't torque it wrong, and this is going to be a disc that's going to last you a good long time. That's how you use a torque wrench, and that's why. If you're going to use it on other specifications like engines, things like that, be very mindful of the inch pounds, and make sure you don't over torque it because you're likely to strip something or break something. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, you can do it too.